Welcome to beautiful Nazareth.
Sold completely 100% on this place in Portugal, whatnot. So I moved here from Maui and California originally. Grew up in Fullerton, California, surfing Newport, Huntington Beach and stuff, and then went to Halama and San Diego for bigger waves from there, and then Mexico and Hawaii, and since then I've been Tahiti and some other places, but mostly I moved to Jaws and surfed a lot of that, and then came here after some time in Puerto Escondido. So yeah, here I'm in Nazareth, and we're gonna go into this interview here with the 48 questions. Number one, where are your parents from? Actually, we have two-part questions. We have like 100 questions. Where are your parents from? What is your ethnic background? My dad is from Austria, from Vienna, Austria. He ran from there when he was 7, born in 1931. So in 1938, he had to run from the Nazis. And my grandpa got caught, put in a camp, and then escaped to Chicago, where he had sent my father and my grandma and my father's sister. And yeah, he was a bit messed up from being in the camp, and kind of my dad needed to take care of him and stuff. So my dad had this upbringing where he became a father at age 7 or 8. So that's my background, my father's background. And then he moved to California when he was 38 or something, right about the time I was born in 1970. My ethnic background is Jewish, and my mom was from Florida. She's Jewish as well. Yeah, you can shut that door. My partner, Alaman, just got here, which is a huge part of what I do. Without partners in tow surfing, you would be nowhere. So we'll see what he's up to, and maybe even invite them out here into the interview at some point. There are 48 questions. Let me try to buzz through this real quick. What do your parents do for jobs when you were growing up? My dad was a writer. He wrote the annual reports for Mutual Funds Investment Company. Try explaining that one when you're a little kid. It's not an easy one. He wasn't a fireman. It wasn't one or two words. But that's what he did. He wrote annual reports for Mutual Funds Investment Company. He was actually asked to be ambassador to Austria by both Reagan and then Bush after that, Senior Bush. He was so good at writing about mutual funds. He was really good at that. And my mom was a realtor, real estate agent. And next question, what did you want to be as a young boy? I wanted to be a lawyer, I thought. I grew up in Fullerton, California. That's the fourth question, where I grew up. 4A. What was life like in Maui? Jennifer, you're classic. 48 questions with a 4 and 4A. 4. Where did I grow up? Fullerton. 4A. What was life like in Maui? Life in Maui is beautiful and confining all at once. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. So do 99% of the people that come there that won't live there. A small percentage of people that come to Maui would actually live there. It's an interesting place. Interesting place to be and live and call home and whatnot. As long as you can move around and get off the island frequently, it's probably the best place in the world to live. Although Portugal is better in that there is no drug war here, the waves are bigger and the culture is deeper, the food is better, no GMOs, no pesticides, man, the list goes on. The people here are just incredible. So Portugal has me over now. First place I ever surfed was Waikiki. Pushed into a wave by a by a local guy, and got a picture standing there like this, you know, standing forward, peace signs. And the way I got to show everybody that I could surf when I said I could surf. Because coming from bodyboarding, I didn't get any credit for surfing, and yeah, I wanted that. So. Sorry, interrupted by incoming messages. It was like life in Maui. Where was the first place you surfed? Who taught you how to surf? That guy taught me how to surf, the Hawaiian guy. And that was it after that. Number 7, where did you get your first taste of big wave riding? A big wave to me when I was little was this big, so I don't know, but first big wave was Halama. I went there and it was 20 feet on the face and it looked like little kids were riding it. I couldn't fathom that someone would be that small and the wave could be that big. And then they came to the shoulder and they had mustaches and were like, you know, 6 feet tall. It blew my mind. So yeah, Halama, California. It's the first place I ever, surfed big waves. Number 8, best advice ever received. Keep surfing, from Dan Kealoha. Although my dad gave me a lot of good advice. Yeah, anyways. Surfing's real important to me. It saved my life in many ways. I just love it, so yeah. My sponsors, who are my sponsors? Number 9, Optics is a really important sponsor for me at this point. They're in competition with GoPro, or even they're going to blow GoPro away. It's just a little element that feeds into your cell phone, and I've been with them for years in the shape of another company, Hotbox Vapors and Smelly Proof bags and stuff like that. And now he switched to his entrepreneur effort in the sorry, I lost my questions. In the camera world or whatever, and so that's super cool endeavor I'm involved in. My sponsors, so Optics, Sector 9, been with them for over a decade, really importantly. Matus, beautiful wetsuit company, great people. Hooked up with them recently and super stoked to be working with them. Capitola Agricola, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's the bank here in Alcabasa. They just funded this project, documentary that we're doing, and it's just amazing. Super stoked on their support. LaCroix Surfboards and Oliveira Cork Company. Oliveira has a bigger name than that. I haven't memorized it yet. They're up north in Porto, and they told me Oliveira was good for now. So Oliveira, that's where we got the blank from. At Shapeland, that's where they put the blank together and glass the board and everything. These guys are just incredible here in Portugal. Kind Snacks, it's just an unreal sponsor. Super stoked on Kind Snacks. I'm sure the list goes on. I've had a lot of sponsors in the past that have come and gone, so I'm a little mixed up as to people like Sanook that I was with for a decade and stuff. I'm a little confused as to who to mention from here. If I checked my list, I could tell you. Hydro Fins, they made some beautiful titanium fins for me. 3D printed these titanium fins. And as high as I am, my friend Mike Jones. Beautiful clothes, great guy. So I'm down to 1% on my phone. I don't know how much longer this is going to last reading these questions from here, so let me just buzz through them now the best I can, and we'll recover accordingly here as soon as this thing dies. Favorite place to surf is Nazare. Biggest wave ever ridden was here in Nazare just recently. A couple days ago, I think, was the biggest wave ever rode. The whitewash was just enormous. Wave wasn't so big, but crazy. You're in Nazare right now. What boards do you have with you to ride those waves in Portugal? Special equipment, we just talked about that. LaCroix surfboards, Cork, made by Oliveira, shaped at Shapeland, funded by Capitola Agricola. How big is it there right now? It's small, which means like 10, 12 foot shore break, bowling and spitting. that's a relatively flat day. What have your sessions been like so far? Random, a couple times, 2 times a week, and just super fun. Uh, it varies every time I surf out here. It varies. A lot like the wedge, I think, in Newport, and Sunset, and Waimea, and Puerto, and Jaws, and crazy. How many times a day are you able to go out in the waves? We'll go a few times sometimes, although I like to time it right and hopefully just go for kind of like a strike mission, get it the right time of day. Number 15, and for how long are you out in the water for each session? Goes from anywhere from a couple hours to all day. You never know. How do you prepare to surf waves like Nazareth? Mentally a lot, skateboarding, biking, just staying, keeping your emotional content straight. I believe a lot in like Shaolin stretching and kind of Bruce Lee philosophy stuff, and emotional content was real important to him, and I believe in that completely. Are you able to sleep? Or wait, how do you prepare? Oh yeah, are you able to sleep the night before tackling stuff like this? It's tough, definitely tough. When you sleep, what are your dreams like? In general, my dreams, sometimes I remember them, sometimes I don't. Gosh, I can't even remember the last one I had. Lately I haven't been remembering my dreams. So I'll skip that one for now. What is your favorite sex position? All over the place, I think. Yeah, I love them all. In your day-to-day life, how do you train? Stretching and biking and skating and hiking and eating well and stuff like that. What is your diet like? I was vegetarian for 10 years. I watch my diet pretty well. I eat to feel well. So at the same time, I also slip and eat stuff that doesn't make me feel well sometimes. Here in Portugal, it's very difficult to eat a good breakfast. We were just talking about that. So yeah, coffee and bread, and not the best things in the morning. So juices, stuff like that, I like a lot. And fresh fish and veggies and soups here, incredible. The best food here in the world. Do I have any bad habits? Sure, like staying up too long, not sleeping right, not eating right, burning too much, or whatever, just try and strike a balance, not training enough. What is something that turns me on? Surfing and sex. Immediate.